Good afternoon. I'm Lori Ashcraft. This is Stacy.
Hello.
And Stacy, thank you for being willing to share your story of strength and hope today.
You're welcome.
I'm especially excited about this because I got to be present during a time when an important part of your story unfolded.
Mm-hmm.
And do you want to talk a little bit about what brought you to the peer employment training?
Sure. It was in the end of 2004, and I started to experience some really extreme emotional crises. And I was with a clinical team, and I had.
You mean like a case manager and a
Yes.
doctor? Okay.
Yeah, I was diagnosed SMI when I was 17, and I've been in the mental health system ever since.
Mm-hmm.
And so during the end of 2004, I started experiencing major emotional meltdowns.
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up in the hospital in intensive care for a while, trying to end my life.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got out, it was interesting. My case manager had told me that she thinks that I would make a good peer support specialist, and I didn't see that. I mean, I just got out of the hospital.
Oh, it's such a wonderful example of someone seeing your strengths when you can't see them yourself.
Yes.
Yeah, so she saw your strengths and wanted you to exercise your potential.
Yeah.
And somehow you had enough courage to believe in her believing in you.
Well, yeah, it wasn't something that I was used to, and I didn't have any
Yeah.
ambitions of my own, and to have somebody else, see good in me and see how I could help somebody with the things I'd gone through.
Yeah.
It was really nice. I didn't understand it at the time, but I just was like will it.
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
And then that's where we met, because I was the instructor, the facilitator of the class.
Yes.
And you were a student in the class.
Yes.
Yeah. And I remember you didn't have a charmed life during the time you were a student either. You were, I think you were homeless?
At the time I was living on a couch.
Yeah.
Not a home of my own.
Yeah.
And and it just, I couldn't hold down any kind of job without getting just emotionally wrecked over it.
Yeah. So that's kind of how you saw yourself.
Yes.
But what I saw in you was probably what your case manager saw in you, which was a really smart young woman that was responsible, and even though you were having a lot of challenges, able to keep your commitments to coming to class. So that's what I'm seeing, is a really good student. And
no, thank you. I was really scared to start. I'm like, oh, it's school, there's going to be homework, and I had no idea what I was getting myself into.
Yeah.
It was really scary.
Yeah. But I think enough people were believing in you, at least your case manager and me, that even though you couldn't believe in yourself, somehow that belief in your strengths from other people was holding you
Absolutely
in place. Then we get close to graduation in the class.
Mm-hmm. And I had an interview for positions that were available for after graduation, and before graduation I was offered a position, a part-time recovery coach position.
So before you even
Right.
graduated, you got offered a position.
Yeah.
Oh, there's another. Someone else saw some strengths in you too then. Yeah. Okay.
And
so it's starting to build.
Yes. Yeah, that actually sparked a little bit of hope in me. I thought, I'm doing it right. I'm doing this thing right. So I went back to my clinical team to let them know.
And I was so excited when you told me you had a job. I was just like,
yes.
Yeah.
Oh, my doctor had other ideas.
All right, so you go back to your clinical team.
Yeah, I went. I was real excited, and she was like, "Why don't you volunteer first? You're not fit for work. You just had these emotional breakdowns," and she just wasn't comfortable with releasing me to work, and
she was believing in your weaknesses, not in your strengths.
Yeah.
And she wasn't seeing the brilliant student that I saw, or the young woman with a lot of potential as the case manager saw.
Yeah.
But she was probably afraid. Yeah, fear causes us to do some weird things sometimes.
Yeah. It could be it.
Yeah.
could be it. But I'm glad I went against doctor's orders.
Well, then I remember I saw you in the hallway again.
Yes.
And I said, "Hi, Stacy." And you were like, "Oh." And you said, "I can't take the job."
Right.
And I'm like, "What?" And you said, "My doctor said I can't take the job." And then you and I got together and said, "What can they do to us?
Right.
Throw us in jail because you take a job." And then,
Which was scary too, because even at that point, I only believed where I was being homeless and having all these emotional breakdowns. I didn't really see that being far off from the truth.
right? You could see both sides of yourself. You could see
Yeah.
the breakdown,
Mm-hmm.
and you could see the potential.
Yes.
You probably could have gone either way there. There weren't enough of us over here holding that space open for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you took the job.
I did.
And I go back out to the clinical team and try to talk to the doctor.
Yeah.
That was not a happy moment, I recall.
Not for her.
It wasn't too pleasant for us either. But we held our ground.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was what, 4 years ago? 6 years ago?
It was 2000, early 2005, Lori.
Oh my gosh. Oh, so that was like 9 years ago.
Yes.
What's happened since?
Life happens.
Yeah.
I have learned recovery tools, and I've worn many hats here. Been asked to do a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of things that even after a few years of experience here, I'm still not sure as to if it was going to be successful or not.
Mm-hmm.
Turns out I'm pretty good at peer
Pretty
support.
darn good, yeah.
And I'm able to see hope in other people too that they may not have been able to see.
So you're passing on the hope you got to other people.
Is that-
Believing in people that don't believe in themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I remember, and I might not have this quite right, but I remember that you kept getting promoted. And also, like you say, you've worked in so many parts of the company now, you could probably start running it pretty soon. I'll tell Gene
Okay.
that it's okay. He can retire now because you're ready. You gotten married. Remember that you have a child now?
Yeah, I have a 3-year-old son.
Yeah.
Who's going to be 4 in January.
Yeah.
And I also have a daughter who is 16. And during before ever knowing about Recovery Innovation,
Yes.
I'd given her up for adoption.
I remember that.
Yeah, and we've been reunited.
That is so wonderful.
We text and stuff.
Because I remember that was a big part of the breakdown.
Yes.
Was trying to resolve that for yourself.
Yes.
So you lived through that.
Yes.
And that's come to an amazing, happy point. Yeah.
Yep. And she's gone through some of the same things that I have.
Yeah.
And so I can see in her myself, and I know that if I can make it, she can make it.
And vice versa.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
Great.
It's really nice.
Well, you have certainly given me hope and validated my belief in recovery for all of us. And sometimes when I'm feeling like I'm breaking down, I think of people like you who made it through tough times. And it helps me. It helps me make it through. So
Thanks, Lord.
Thank you.
You're my first peer support specialist.
I remember that, and I'm just honored to have been there for you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for listening. We hope you've learned a lot about strengths from the story, and hope you're better able to find your own strengths as a result of this process.